The cuffs clicked shut before anyone even understood what was happening. Not because she resisted, not because she ran, but because the man standing in front of her had already decided who she was. And once that decision was made, nothing else mattered. Officer Daniel Briggs didn't look twice at her uniform, didn't study the insignia, didn't question the calm in her eyes. He saw her face, and that was enough. Metal tightened around her wrists. And just like that, he made the biggest mistake of his life. The heat in southern Alabama had a way of settling into your bones. Colonel Elena Carter felt it the moment she stepped out of the airport in Birmingham. It wrapped around her like a thick blanket, heavy, unmoving, familiar. 4 years. That's how long it had been since she'd come back home. 4 years of deserts, conflict zones, and briefing rooms where decisions carried life-or-death consequences. Now she stood in a place where the air smelled like dust, gasoline, and summer grass. It almost didn't feel real. She adjusted the collar of her dress uniform and walked toward the rental car lot, boots striking pavement with quiet precision. Every movement was controlled, measured, habit. That's what 15 years in the Army does to you. It turns your body into discipline. Her phone buzzed just as she unlocked the car. "Where are you?" her younger brother Marcus asked without greeting. "Just got the car," she replied, sliding into the driver's seat. "You're late." "I flew overnight." "That's not an excuse." She almost smiled. Marcus hadn't changed. "I'll be there in 20. "Good," he said, then softer, "Mama would have wanted you home sooner." The words landed gently, but they stayed. "I know." She hung up and pulled out onto the road. The city faded quickly. Glass buildings gave way to cracked sidewalks, then open stretches of highway, then the quiet, familiar roads of her hometown, Red Hollow. Everything looked smaller. Or maybe she had just outgrown it. She passed her old high school, the faded sign, the empty bleachers. She remembered sitting there once, at 17, staring at the sky and promising herself she would leave. Not just leave. Become something no one here expected. Her father's voice echoed in her memory, as clear as if he were sitting beside her. "They'll see your skin first," he had told her the day she left for officer training. "Make sure they never miss the rest." She had spent 15 years doing exactly that. Every promotion, every mission, every sacrifice. She had made them see more. And yet, she didn't realize how fragile that illusion was until she pulled into a gas station 10 minutes from home. The station hadn't changed. Same cracked concrete. Same flickering sign. Same quiet stillness of a town that never really moved forward. She parked beside pump number 4 and stepped out, stretching slightly. That's when she heard it. A car door. Then another. She glanced over her shoulder. 2 police cruisers had pulled in behind her. Strange, but not alarming. Not yet. She reached for the pump. "Ma'am." The voice was sharp, authoritative, used to being obeyed. She turned slowly. Officer Daniel Briggs approached with deliberate steps, hand resting casually near his holster. His partner circled behind her without a word. They moved like they had done this before. Like they already knew how this would end. "Step away from the vehicle," Briggs said. Elena studied him for a moment. Calm, controlled. "Is there a problem, officer?" "I said step away." His tone hardened. No explanation. No context. Just command. She didn't move immediately. Not out of defiance. Out of awareness. Moments like this were fragile. One wrong move, and everything could spiral. "I'm Colonel Elena Carter," she said evenly. "United States Army." She gestured slightly toward her shoulder insignia. "Just stopping for gas." Briggs glanced at her rank, then back at her face. His expression didn't change. "I don't care who you say you are," he replied. "Hands where I can see them." There it was. That moment. The one her father had warned her about. The one where nothing you earned mattered. The one where identity outweighed achievement. She raised her hands slowly. Palms open. Fingers steady. Behind her, she could feel the second officer shifting position, closing off any path of movement. "Good," Briggs said. "Now we're getting somewhere. Can you tell me why I'm being detained?" "Suspicious vehicle matching reports of recent thefts." "This is a rental car," she said calmly. "Picked up from the airport less than an hour ago." He stepped closer. "Too close. You talk a lot. I'm answering your questions. I didn't ask for explanations." His hand moved. She saw the cuffs before she felt them. Cold metal. Sharp click. The sound echoed louder than it should have. People nearby stopped moving. A man at the next pump stared. A teenager slowly lifted his phone. And just like that, the moment was no longer private. Inside the cruiser, the air felt stale. Old coffee, vinyl heat. Elena sat upright, wrists restrained, eyes forward. She didn't panic, didn't argue, didn't react, because she knew something Briggs didn't. This wasn't going to end the way he expected. "You get one call," he muttered from the front seat. She nodded. "Phone." He handed it back through the divider. She didn't call Marcus, didn't call a lawyer. She dialed a number she hadn't used in years. It rang once. General Hayes. His voice was steady, commanding. "Sir, this is Colonel Carter." A pause. Then, "What happened?" "I'm in custody in Red Hollow, Alabama. Wrongful detention. I need escalation." Silence. 3 seconds. 4. "I'll handle it." The line went dead. What followed didn't happen loudly. There were no sirens, no shouting, no dramatic announcements. Just movement. Phones ringing inside the station. Doors opening. Voices lowering. Briggs got a call on his radio. Then another. Then his posture changed. Subtle, but unmistakable. He stepped out of the car, spoke with someone outside, came back, opened the door. No eye contact, no apology. Just, "You're free to go." The cuffs came off. Elena stepped out slowly, adjusted her uniform, smoothed the sleeves where the metal had pressed into the fabric. Across the lot, a small crowd had gathered, watching, whispering, recording. Briggs stood there, jaw tight. Not sorry, not uncertain, angry. That told her everything. This wasn't over. Not even close. By nightfall, the video was everywhere. Every angle. Every second. The command. The cuffs. The silence. And then, the truth started spreading faster than anyone could contain it. A decorated Army colonel. Wrongfully detained. In uniform. In broad daylight. The country took notice. But Red Hollow doubled down. The police chief held a press conference the next morning. Said procedures were followed. Said the situation was handled properly. Said she had been uncooperative. Elena watched it from her mother's kitchen. And for the first time since the arrest, something shifted inside her. Not anger. Something sharper. Purpose. Because she realized something important. This wasn't about her. It never was. The evidence came quietly. An old complaint, then another, then a pattern. Different names, different years, same officer, same outcome. Dismissed, ignored, buried. One case stood out. A retired veteran, 68 years old, injured during a stop. Complaint filed. Evidence submitted. Case closed. Insufficient evidence. The phrase repeated like a stamp of indifference. Elena stared at the documents and understood. This wasn't a mistake. It was a system. She met the veteran 2 days later. His name was Thomas Green. His house was small, neat, carefully kept, like someone who still believed in order. He handed her a box. Inside, years of records, photos, statements, proof. I kept everything, he said quietly. Why? He looked at her. Because one day someone might care. She took the box and made a promise, not out loud, but deeply. This time, someone would. The hearing in Washington changed everything. She sat beside Thomas, uniform pressed, eyes steady, and told the truth. Not loudly, not dramatically, just clearly. If it could happen to her, it had been happening to others for years, and no one had been listening. Until now. Within a week, the investigation opened. Within 2, the department fractured. Within 3, Officer Briggs was arrested. Charges read in the same calm tone he once used. Civil rights violations, abuse of authority, obstruction, the same parking lot, the same silence. But this time, he stood in cuffs, and everyone watched. The chief resigned. The mayor stepped down. The system that had protected itself for years collapsed in days because someone refused to stay quiet. Months later, Elena stood on a quiet base far from Red Hollow. A small ceremony. No cameras. No speeches. Just recognition. General Hayes pinned the commendation on her uniform. For integrity under pressure. She nodded. Simple. Controlled. But later, as she stood alone, looking out over the training field, she thought about that moment. The cuffs, the heat, the silence, and everything that came after. Her father had been right. They would always see one thing first. But what came after? That part. She had forced them to face it. And this time, they couldn't look away.